stand up, speak out on a mission to end bullying. The issue. Bullying is a very huge issue nowadays, and it is only growing worse. The issue has always existed, but in the United States, many adults scoff at bullying and say, "Oh, that's what happens when kids are growing up." They couldn't be more wrong. The issue is much bigger than this. Bullying is much more prevalent in schools than people realize, and the effects are much worse than they believe. Who experiences bullying? 1 in 2 students roughly experience occasional bullying during any school term. 1 in 4 students in primary school are bullied more than once or twice at least in any term. 1 in 10 secondary school students are bullied more than once or twice at least in any term. Some research says 1/3 of secondary school students are bullied during the course of the year. 1 in 10 primary age students are persistently and frequently bullied, possibly every day. Staggering statistics. 1 in 7 students in grades K through 12 is either a bully or a victim of bullying. 56% of students have personally witnessed some type of bullying at school. 71% of students report incidents of bullying as a problem at their school. 90% of 4th through 8th graders report being victims of bullying. 282,000 students are physically attacked in secondary schools each month. A child is bullied every 7 minutes. Up to 40% of secondary school students feel that their teachers are unaware of the bullying which goes on. 50% of cases go unreported. What's wrong with this picture? Effects of bullying? According to bullying statistics, 1 out of every 10 students who drops out of high school does so because of repeated bullying. 15% of all school absenteeism is directly related to fears of being bullied at school. It is estimated that 160,000 children miss school every day due to fear of attack or intimidation by other students. How are victims affected? Physical injury, feeling unsafe, lower feelings of self-worth, negative coping behavior such as acting out in violent ways or withdrawing, poor performance in school, increased risk for depression, anxiety, self-injury, or suicide lasting into adulthood. Self-harm. Self-harm, also known as self-injury or self-mutilation, involves cutting, burning, bruising, or otherwise intentionally inflicting any form of harm, injury, abuse, or damage upon oneself. This has become a rising coping mechanism among young people. 1 in 5 teens self-injures. Someone commits a self-harming act every 20 minutes. Falling to self-harm and why it happens. Statistically, self-mutilation is linked to suffering emotional abuse. This, however, has a wide spectrum. The bottom line, though, is that bullying is emotional abuse. Bullying hurts people, and they will look down upon themselves the same way that others seem to. Eventually, the words and actions of others become ingrained into the victim's mind, and it becomes the truth that they know. If you hear something enough, you'll begin to believe it. Being bullied gets to a point where a child or teen will simply feel useless, not good enough, and worthless. For far too many, self-harm becomes a coping mechanism. They feel that it blocks out or numbs emotional pain, or, when they have already become emotionally numb, the cutting makes them feel. It reminds them that they're still alive. Sometimes, though, this self-abuse is also done as the person feels that it's what they deserve. When it goes too far, suicide. Suicide is the third leading cause of death among young people ages 10 to 24, resulting in 4,400 deaths per year, according to the CDC. For every completed suicide among young people, there are at least 100 suicide attempts. Over 14% of high school students have considered suicide, and almost 7% have attempted it. Someone attempts suicide every 40 seconds. Every 17 minutes, someone succeeds. Bullycide, suicide due to bullying. A child commits suicide as a direct result of being bullied once every half hour, with 19,000 bullied children attempting to commit suicide over the course of 1 year. Bully victims are between 2 to 9 times more likely to consider suicide than non-victims, according to studies by Yale University. A study in Britain found that at least half of suicides among young people are related to bullying. Gay and lesbian youth are 2 to 3 times more likely to commit suicide than other youth, and 30% of all completed youth suicides are related to the issue of sexual identity. 10 to 14-year-old girls may be at even higher risk for suicide, according to the study above. The thoughts of suicide occur more in girls, but boys are more likely to succeed. Bullying and violence. Bullying statistics say revenge is the strongest motivation for school shootings. 87% of students said shootings are motivated by a desire to, quote, get back at those who have hurt them. Harassment and bullying have been linked to 75% of school shooting incidents. Bullying has been blamed for many acts of violence in schools, including the Columbine High School massacre of 1999 in Denver, Colorado. Both of the shooters were classified as gifted children and had been bullied for years. A year later, an analysis by officials at the U.S. Secret Service of 37 premeditated school shootings found that bullying, which some of the shooters described in terms that approached torment, played the major role in more than 2/3 of the attacks. Sandra G. Boodman, a journalist on the Columbine massacre. 1 out of 20 students has seen a student with a gun at school. In 2009, surveys showed that 100,000 children carried guns to school as a result of being bullied. None of this needs to be, though. Of course, bullying created this issue, and that needs to be ended. But in the meantime, we must also focus on helping those who are already falling. We need to catch them before they crash. There are better ways to deal with your problems, and there are safe ways. This is what we need to teach. Self-harm and suicide are not answers. Suicide happens when the pain weighs out the sources of coping. But it's just a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I completely understand that it feels very permanent right now, but the fact of the matter is that it can and will get better. Sometimes it just takes time. I understand where patience runs out and things build up and overflow, but there are other ways to deal with it. There are always ways to cope, healthy, safe ways too. What's wrong with you? How dare you make fun of someone for something they can't control? She has acne. Do you think she chooses to have red spots all over her face? She has crooked teeth. I've never met someone who got braces just for fun. She has a big nose. Who cares? Is she supposed to get plastic surgery? Her hair is frizzy. Some people don't like frying their hair with a straightener. She wears glasses. Do you think people enjoy being half blind? She's not a size 0. Some people can't control their weight. Imperfection is beautiful. Stop making people feel like it is not. So, what do we do? My goal is to help spread this message. We need to raise awareness of the issue of bullying. We need to also shed light on the fact that it can cause seemingly permanent psychological damage. The world needs to understand that words and actions are not stupid little things. Your stupid little comments or actions can set a person off the edge. What I also want people to understand, though, is that we also need to be helping these struggling victims. My idea is a call for creativity. This allows kids to safely express their feelings, emotions, and thoughts. This can be done in many ways. Art of all forms, drawing, painting, sculpting, etc. Writing such as poems, stories, or songs, the musical arts too. You don't have to be some crazy artist either. This is simply a way of letting things out and being able to express them in a positive manner. The other idea is that many kids feel silenced in their situations because they don't believe that anyone will listen to them. But again, this is your way to tell someone how you feel. Tell them what you think about this issue and what you may be going through. Perhaps we can even take this as far as the idea that I will listen to you. You can post on the Facebook page or submit something to me via my email, rachelsuso@aol.com, and I will put it on my official website, standupspeakout-mbullying.com. You can use your experiences and your pain and turn it into something positive. Other kids can see this and realize that they aren't alone. And that's what you need to remember too. You are never alone. Thank you. I hope you truly learned a lot today. Go make good decisions. Be kind. You never know what someone's going through. Never look down on anybody unless you're helping them up. Jesse Jackson. Remember this, though. Things like self-harm and especially suicide are 100% preventable. If you are in this situation, talk to someone. If you know someone who may be in this situation, help them get help. In general, though, be kind. Words are more powerful than you believe.